Rise above, the Stoic journey to inner freedom. Life is a battlefield, but the enemy is not outside, it is inside. Our doubts, our fears, our uncontrolled desires, they are the true chains that keep us from freedom. The Stoics understood this long ago. They taught that if you cannot rule your mind, you will be ruled by the world. To live freely is not to escape hardship, but to carry yourself through it with dignity and strength. Picture Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, seated in a war camp. Outside, soldiers sharpen swords and plan battles. Inside, the emperor writes in a simple notebook, reminders to himself about humility, patience, and control. He tells himself not to be angry, not to crave praise, not to fear death. The most powerful man in the world understood that the hardest war is not fought with armies, but within the mind. Stoicism is not about coldness, it is about clarity. The Stoic feels joy, grief, and love, but he does not let these emotions destroy him. When he loses someone he loves, he mourns, but he also reminds himself that nothing in life is permanent. When fortune abandons him, he grieves, but he does not collapse. To be Stoic is not to stop feeling, but to stop being ruled by feelings. Seneca warned that life is wasted not because it is short, but because we spend it carelessly. We live as though we have endless tomorrows, but every day is slipping away. The Stoic lives differently. He values the present. He wakes with gratitude, knowing that each sunrise is a gift that will never come again. He spends his time wisely because he knows it is the only true wealth. Epictetus, born into slavery, had nothing, no money, no freedom, no power. Yet he discovered a truth that even kings often forget. Your happiness does not depend on what you own, but on what you control. They could beat his body, but they could not touch his will. This lesson is timeless. Even today, surrounded by technology and comforts, we are not free until we learn what truly belongs to us. The Stoic practices voluntary hardship. He eats simply, he wears rough clothing, he sometimes sleeps on the floor. Why would anyone do this willingly? Because life is uncertain. Luxury can vanish, fortunes can crumble, comfort can disappear. By training in discomfort, the Stoic becomes unshakable. He can lose everything, yet remain whole, because he has learned to live with little. Anger is a fire that consumes the one who carries it. The Stoics warned that when you allow anger to rule, you lose reason, you lose peace, and you lose yourself. A Stoic does not deny anger, he faces it. He asks, is this in my control? Will this matter tomorrow? And in that pause, the fire dies down. Self-mastery is born not in silence, but in wise response. Fear is another chain. Most of our fears, the Stoics explained, are not real. They are shadows created by our imagination. We fear failure before we even try. We fear judgment before anyone speaks. We fear death as though it were a tragedy rather than a natural end. The Stoic learns to face fear with reason. He understands that fear wastes life, while courage expands it. Stoicism is not a withdrawal from the world, it is engagement with strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he was a citizen, not just an emperor. To live wisely is not to isolate, but to serve. Justice is one of the pillars of Stoicism, because life is not about only what you endure, but what you give back. A Stoic carries himself not only for his own sake, but for the sake of the community. At the heart of Stoicism is a challenge, to live each day as if it were your last, but to live it well. The Stoic does not seek applause, nor fear insults, nor chase endless desires. He seeks only this, to live with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. And when death finally arrives, the Stoic does not curse it. He welcomes it as the final step of a life lived in harmony with nature. In our modern world of endless noise, distractions, and shallow desires, Stoicism offers something radical: silence, focus, and inner strength. It calls us to turn away from chasing what we cannot control and to master what we can: our mind, our actions, our choices. This is the Stoic path. Not easy, not glamorous, but powerful. A path that does not promise comfort, but promises freedom. To be Stoic is not to escape life, but to rise above it. To walk through storms with calm, to face loss with dignity, to carry hardship with courage. The Stoics did not give us empty words. They gave us tools, and those tools are still sharp today, waiting for us to pick them up. The choice is yours. Live as a prisoner of desire and fear, or rise above, unshakable, free. The Stoics taught that fortune is like the weather: sunshine today, storms tomorrow. You cannot command it, but you can prepare for it. When fortune smiles, the Stoic enjoys it but does not cling to it. When fortune turns, the Stoic endures it without despair. This balance makes him unbreakable. The world may rise and fall, but he stands steady because his happiness does not depend on things he cannot hold. One of the most misunderstood ideas of Stoicism is emotion. People think Stoics feel nothing, but that is false. They feel deeply, but they refuse to be slaves to their feelings. The Stoic father still loves his child, but he loves wisely, understanding that the child is not his possession, but a gift of fate. When that gift is taken away, his heart breaks, but his mind does not. This discipline turns grief into strength, not weakness. The practice of gratitude was central to the Stoics. They did not wait for special occasions to feel thankful. They looked at the sunrise, the air in their lungs, the chance to speak, the chance to act, and they gave thanks. Gratitude is a shield against despair. When you see life as a series of gifts, you stop feeling like a victim and start living as a student of fate. Another Stoic practice was visualization of adversity. Before traveling, they imagined dangers. Before sleeping, they imagined loss. Before beginning a task, they imagined failure. This was not pessimism, it was preparation. By facing the worst in their mind, they trained themselves to remain calm if it ever arrived. Today, this same practice can help us deal with rejection, business failure, or even sudden illness. We become less fragile, more prepared. The Stoics also warned against chasing the applause of the crowd. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them knows the truth." In today's age of likes, followers, and viral fame, this wisdom is like fire in the dark. Applause is empty. Virtue is real. A Stoic does not live to impress. He lives to be aligned with truth. One of the greatest Stoic insights is that obstacles are not enemies, but opportunities. Marcus wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means every obstacle is a chance to practice strength, patience, or courage. Instead of asking, "Why me?" the Stoic asks, "How can this make me stronger?" Life becomes less of a burden and more of a training ground. The discipline of self-control was sacred to the Stoics. They believed that a man who cannot govern himself will always be a slave, whether to pleasure, to fear, or to anger. Self-control does not mean denial of joy, but balance. Eat, but do not become gluttonous. Love, but do not become dependent. Work, but do not become greedy. This balance keeps the soul light and the mind sharp. In the end, the Stoic life is not about perfection, but about practice. No man is born unshakable. Even Marcus, even Seneca, even Epictetus, they all failed, they all struggled. But each day they returned to the path. They reflected, they corrected, they grew. This is the real beauty of Stoicism. It is not about becoming a statue of stone, but a living human who learns to walk through life with wisdom, strength, and peace.